This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Pensacola State Today. I'm your host, Sherri Hemminghaus Weeks. We appreciate that you've chosen to spend some time with us today to learn more about some of the special things going on at Pensacola State College. On this show, we'll be focused on the award-winning faculty at PSC. So we extend a special welcome to our guest today, Dr. Brenda Kelly. Dr. Kelly is the Dean of General Studies at Pensacola State College, and she'll be talking to us about the Academy of Teaching Excellence. And I'm excited about this because I didn't know this exists here, and you can only know so much about what's going on in the community, right? And I heard about this. What a great thing. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it really is a wonderful part of what we do at the college, Sherri. And the Academy of Teaching Excellence was actually started in 1986. And Dr. Charles Atwell, who ended up being our fourth president, started this when he was an executive vice president. And his idea was to find ways to promote and really celebrate excellent teaching. And since 1986, every year we've been able to induct our outstanding faculty into the Academy of Teaching Excellence.
Wow. And what do you think inspired him? What did he think? Why did he think that needed to happen?
I think that he knew, as we all know, that teaching is what the college is all about, and everyone who works here knows that what we do, whether we're in the classroom or not, is to support what happens in the classroom. And finding ways to celebrate the outstanding work that goes on in the classroom was his goal.
And what's the process for that then? So you've got some wonderful faculty. How do they get in the pipeline for this?
Yeah, so we have a nomination process every fall semester, and students hear about this. We advertise the fact that we have the academy, and students can nominate their favorite faculty member. Sometimes groups of students get together. Our various honor societies might do this. And then also department heads, other administrators, if they know of a really, really outstanding faculty member, they can also nominate somebody. So the nomination process takes place during the fall semester. Mm-hmm. And then after that, there's a selection process. And because what we're trying to do is really, really recognize a sustained record of good teaching. Mm-hmm. Faculty who have taught for 3 years or more are eligible to be members of the academy. So once we go through the eligibility process, then we notify faculty that they've been nominated, and really and truly, whether or not the faculty member actually is inducted into the academy or not, the nomination is a huge, huge honor.
Well, you know, everybody always says, oh, it's an honor just to be nominated, but I would think truly, yes, in this case, if one single student says that is a wonderful teacher, that's got to feel so good.
It does, because a student has to make that effort to do the nomination. And I think so often, and I remember this as a student long ago, I had teachers and I thought, gosh, they changed my life, they did such huge things, but I never took the time to say that. So I think that the fact that you are nominated is pretty huge.
Oh, I think it's huge too. And so a student can nominate any faculty member, mm-hmm, and then the process begins in the fall, mm-hmm, and you've got on the selection committee. How does that work?
Yes, so the selection committee is made up of members of the Academy of Teaching Excellence. It's made up of students, and we also have Pensacola State graduates on that selection committee as well. And they review the applications that the faculty members submit. And the application includes a lot of information. The teacher would talk about what they do in the classroom that's special. We look at evidence of the faculty member having a good rapport and a good relationship with their students. We look at success rates, and a lot of different factors go into the criteria that the selection committee sort of reviews.
And then what happens when they do find out that they're the winner? I mean, okay, so you start with a pool of, say, how many, and you bring it down to how many?
It could be a lot, and it varies. I think that several years ago we allowed the nomination process to take place online, and that just has made it easier for students. So we could have, 100 people nominated, and then not all of them may be eligible, because oftentimes those members of the Academy of Teaching Excellence get nominated year after year,
right.
and you really you get inducted one time. But so we have to pull out the people who are members or may not qualify.
And when you are inducted, do you have your picture somewhere in the?
What happens is a really, really special event at the college, and we have the awards dinner. And it's a formal experience. We have it in our culinary arts dining room. Our culinary arts students prepare the dinner, serve the dinner. We have a chance for each of the faculty members who have been recognized to speak. And it's one of the nicest celebrations, I think, from my perspective, that we have at the college.
Well, it sounds almost like the Oscars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So, and it's very formal, and everybody's dressed up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you find. And do they find out? Do they know that they've already been chosen at that point?
Yes. Yes. So they've been notified already, and what is very nice about that dinner also is most often the faculty member invites family members and their close colleagues, so they'll have a couple of tables of people that they really want to be there,
Cheering them on.
Yes.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
Well, and teachers, you really have to love teaching to be a teacher, because I heard one of the earlier inductees say, I didn't get into this for the big bucks.
Right.
And I could have gone into engineering and done all kinds of
Right.
things, but do you find that they all just really love to teach?
Yes, yes. And I think that, I think you'll hear these outstanding teachers say time and time again, it's a calling. And I do this because I love it, and I do it because I find such incredible rewards when I see my students succeed.
What kind of rewards do you think come for the teachers and the students, of the teachers that go the extra mile?
One of the things that the faculty members who are inducted, they get an opportunity to attend a pretty amazing professional development conference in Austin, Texas. University of Texas sort of sponsors this, and it's just the faculty members presenting best practices, so it's a really, really great opportunity for them. And then what we ask the faculty who are inducted to do is to come back to the college and share best practices, and they informally mentor their faculty colleagues. So we try to spread all of the great work that these faculty do among the rest of our faculty.
How smart, because just to share that with the
Yes.
rest of the faculty.
Right.
The other thing I was thinking about, do all colleges do this?
I don't think all colleges do this. I think that some have, different levels of recognition. I think ours is very, very special, though.
Oh, well, how special. And so I would imagine that other colleges around the country might even look to this as something that they might consider doing.
Yeah, I think so. And I do know that in the past, when other college presidents have heard from our institution about this, they've asked, how did you start this? What are your criteria? That kind of thing.
Well, a little birdie told me that you were actually inducted. And so please tell me about your personal experience with that.
I was. I taught English here at the college for 15 years before I moved out of the classroom, and I believe it was in 2003 that I was nominated and then was inducted. And Sherri, I can speak, just being nominated, I know people say that, but it really, and it's the fact that the student takes the time to do that. And I learned so much, and it gave me an opportunity and a really, really good reason to collaborate more with my faculty colleagues. And I mean, I benefited, and I know I grew a lot as a faculty member.
Well, I think that's just very exciting, and to share that around, because, you know, every now and then you'll find a teacher that you think, okay, this might not be your favorite thing to do, but I have not run across that here at all. And I think things like this must inspire that.
I think so.
So excellent teaching is actually at the core of the mission statement for PSC. Talk about that.
Yeah, it is. And I think that, as I said before, it's what we do. And it's our focus. And anything that we can do as an institution to support our faculty and to give them the training that they need, we do. And then that, I think just that celebrating what they do, I think that's a key component to helping all of our students succeed.
Well, talking about the celebration a little bit, and the culinary arts students being involved, that must be a special evening for them as well.
I think it is, and it's just, it's so nice. If anyone who's watching has never attended one of those dinners or lunches, I encourage them to do so, because the students, they do so well, and it's nice to see them learn and really practice what they want to do for their jobs later.
Absolutely. So back to teaching. Do you think teachers really can change a person's life?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I had teachers who changed my life, I know. And I think more and more in our world today, having somebody, and oftentimes it's a teacher, who will take just a little bit of extra time with a person, encourage them and motivate them and teach them, I think it can make all the difference.
That's huge. The other thing about Pensacola State College is that with teachers that are encouraged in this way, do you feel like students are able to get more individualized attention?
I think, yes, I do. And I think we make big efforts at the college to keep our class sizes at a number where the teacher does have an opportunity to build a relationship with students, and I think that relationship building is very, very important, and in a way that can help students learn the material, motivate them, encourage them.
Yeah, no, I just think that's fantastic. So do other departments get involved in this process besides, say, culinary arts? Do the photography students maybe come out, take pictures, or does the whole college get involved in this big celebration?
We always have one of our music students, one or more of our music students, you know, playing the piano or various instruments during, like, either the reception right before the dinner or during the dinner. I think that's an awesome idea about the photography, though, because that we do, and I had forgotten to say this to you, one of the things that all of the inductees do is they have their photograph professionally taken, and in our library upstairs we have photos of all of the faculty over all the years since 1986 displayed. And I know it's fun to be up there and have students kind of look in at the various photos and say, hey, I had that teacher.
Yeah, or I saw you up there. That's got to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So it just seems like there are just so many opportunities. And I imagine that when kids graduate or go on to other schools, I know they're good colleges and good teachers everywhere, but this seems to be a really special situation. I imagine they probably look back on this and think, wow, those were some great teachers. You know, everything I've heard about, from virtual tutoring to this program, it just so focused on the students and learning.
Yeah, we have phenomenal faculty at Pensacola State.
Well, any final thoughts before we see some of those outstanding faculty members?
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share, and I really think, Sherri, once your viewers see these short videos, they're going to say, wow, those are great.
That's wonderful. All right, so some who teach truly do go above and beyond. So we're going to share with you now stories of the teachers who have been recently inducted into the Pensacola State College Academy of Teaching Excellence.
Adult education is a different type of focus for educators. From the moment a student walks through the door, you know that they've had challenges at some point in their lives, otherwise they would not be here trying to continue their educations. And we're a different group of students here. It's a mixed class. Probably the most diverse class of all classes across the college campus. These students come from all walks of life. Some are homeless, some have no parents, some are in foster care, and those skills may vary from early elementary levels up to senior levels. And our purpose is to try to get those students to the point where they need to be able to enter into the college and career areas. And so when they first enter this classroom, they see a motto on my board in the front that says, "You can." And they learn that throughout the semester. My students realize in the classroom it's fun to learn. And I want them to know that learning is fun. Many times they've not had a good experience in school in the past, and so I want that experience to change in this classroom. I've been accused of being a nurturer, and I think that's critical in this classroom. I always tell them, hugs are welcome here. I won't push a hug, but I'll certainly welcome one. My students know I pray for them daily, and I think that gives them strength. The support that I have here among the colleagues here at the campus is phenomenal. There's nothing better. I love Pensacola State. I love the people that work here. There are fishermen and campers and artists and musicians, and it's just an eclectic group of people that I love. I'm looking forward to continuing here for a long time. Hopefully they'll just have to shove me away.
I've been with the college for probably 10 years total. I was an adjunct for several years, and then when a position came open due to an accounting professor retiring, I came on here full-time and love it. I teach accounting courses, so I get them at the very beginning of the program where I teach them Accounting 1, the very basics. They're scared to death when they first come in. They think it's a high-level math class. And I tell them it's not. It is more like learning a new language, really. And so I take them through Accounting 1, and then I get them again at the end of the program, where they're learning accounting software and the QuickBooks program. They're learning to actually apply their accounting knowledge using technology so that when they go out there in the workforce, they'll be equipped to actually do the accounting work. I think accounting is so important because every business everywhere needs someone to know about the money. And that's kind of where we start, is I take the approach that the student knows nothing when they come in. They don't know anything about business, know nothing about keeping books, and we get them there, so they're ready. There's nothing greater than when a student comes up and says, "This is so neat because what we're learning in here, I'm using at work right now. We're doing inventory stuff," and that is very rewarding for me to see them make that transition. My biggest thing is I want the students to know that I'm approachable. My relationship with the students is as important, if not more important, than the content I'm actually teaching, because those are the teachers that we remember. When we think back to college, we don't necessarily always think of the ones who taught us the most academically. We think about the ones who cared about us the most and maybe stretched us and encouraged us to shoot for the stars. I always want to keep teaching. I love it. It's where I'm supposed to be.
I have always loved the ocean. Since I was a 3-month-old kid, my mother and father would take us to the beach, and I fell in love with everything in the water, and it just began changing into more of the teaching side than doing the research. Most of the students that I instruct right now are non-majors for biology. Most of them are just taking it for fun. because they see the need for it in Pensacola. You know, we are on a beach and they want to know more. So I'm pretty much that person that is inspiring others to get a passion for the ocean. And I've actually successfully, I think, converted non-major students to marine biology majors because they just see how exciting it is. And by the time they're done with my class, they really can see how it is practical for their everyday life. And I have so many that tell me, Ms. Sears, you made this something relatable to me, and now I get why you're so passionate about this. This is a perfect lab for students to actually see real-world science. So they will extract DNA from a kiwi and get to actually physically see the DNA once they precipitate it out of the solution. And in the second half of the lab, which is the electrophoresis, they will take DNA, separate it by size using an electrophoresis chamber, and actually get to compare DNA bands. We take for granted that we have an ocean out there, and it regulates everything, as even weather, you know, and what's happening in our daily lives. And I like to teach students how important the ocean is, even if you don't like it, and why we need to help protect it. And if I can change a few people and help them to become environmental stewards, then I think I've done my job. I enjoy the relationships I've built with my colleagues, but most importantly, my students. The relationships I build with them are lasting. They keep coming back. They see that I'm here not just for their time at Pensacola State, but, you know, for their future.
This is my 5th year with Pensacola State College. I started teaching back in 1994. My background was with high school and middle school students. Started adjuncting on the college level, decided that's really where I wanted to be. Divine intervention brought me to Pensacola and found a job. I think now it's really important for students to see writing as part of the communication that they're going to need to be successful as they enter the business world. It's really up to the Composition 1 instructor to prepare students to really think critically through an argument and start laying the foundation for that critical argument. We're the gateway course. We prepare the writing that needs to be done for the next 4 years. I think one of the most important parts at the beginning of a semester especially is establishing a relationship with your students. Once you start to figure out those relationships, they tend to open up a little more in class and they're willing to participate in discussions. One of my mentors years ago would constantly say significant learning cannot occur without a significant relationship. And in an English class where students aren't comfortable writing, where they doubt themselves, they need to feel like they're in an environment that they can trust and be who they are, say what they want to say, even though it may not be what the rest of the class feels, and still feel supported at the same time. I think the support systems that we had as teachers growing up is what has caused us to go into this profession. So I want to continue that support system for my students. And I think that's what's interesting. Every day is a different day. Every class is a different class because of what the students bring. In order to play an important role in society, you have to be a well-rounded individual. You have to understand a little bit about everything. You have to be willing to engage yourself and become a part of a community. Question what you don't understand, question what's not right, because you have a vital role to play. And as a citizenry, we are responsible for that. So I think that's what my role is.
I teach pretty much equally between the English department and the history department, so it doesn't matter which course I'm teaching, whether it's English or history, I emphasize writing. If they feel confident in their writing, they're actually going to be better writers. So I do this through journals, different activities, and I feel it's very important, regardless of what subject they are, that they are aware of their writing potential, because it does lead to higher order thinking. While my students are in the classroom, I really try to approach the subject and make it relate to them. You know, we're talking about European history, so how do I get something that happened over 2,000 years to appeal to the students? Well, I compare, for instance, the Hunger Games to the Roman gladiators. I try to make connections where they actually can see it. And in my English class, when we're doing revising work, I will actually bring in songs or different versions of the song so they can see how the revising process is actually applicable outside of just college. So for me, humanities, it just is something that takes place you're always going to have art and architecture and music and performance. And as time has progressed, I've definitely felt a hope, especially at the Milton campus. I've been very fortunate to have most of my classes here. It's a very good experience being able to work with colleagues and know that they will actually help you when you need it. Teaching is not just a profession, but it is some altruistic thing for me. You know, when I'm having a bad day, I walk in that classroom and those students make me feel better. There's not a day that I dread going to work. And I know that the students see this. They can talk to me and I can talk to them. We relate to each other very well. I think it's very important to build a rapport with my students. Not only does it help with retention, but it actually helps the students relate to me as an instructor. Any way that makes the students know that I care. I don't think of them as my students. They're my family, they're my kids.
I developed, I don't know why, a passion for politics from the time really I was 5 years old. I remember the first book I ever read. My mother brought it home from my older brother, and I was 5, and it was a book on the presidents. I still have that book. Who knows why my brain worked that way, but I just knew I always enjoyed talking about and reading about politics and American government. You know, your government affects your life. It does whether you realize it or not. It does whether you're interested in it or not. And, you know, we live in an age, too, where our government affects, you know, our relationships with one another, because we're in a very controversial political age. We're in a very divided political age. There have to be more people that participate. Because right now, who participates in the process? To take the most basic, not the only by any means, but the most basic measure of civic participation, which is the vote, you know, when you're looking at the primary season, for example, which is when most of our congressmen and congresswomen are chosen, you know, something like 15% of the people participate. And one consequence is we get more and more extreme individuals on both the right and the left in government. And it's partly all our fault. One of the things I tell my students the first day of class is, you don't know everything, you know, and you're not right about everything. There are, on all of these controversial issues that we talk about in our class, the reason they're controversial is because there's well-meaning and highly intelligent people on both sides of these issues. And I really emphasize to my students the importance of getting that. I always tell young people, you know, don't do something with your life just because you think it will make you a lot of money. Do something that you really enjoy. Part of a teacher's job is to be enthusiastic about this, genuinely enthusiastic, you know, and I'm genuinely enthusiastic about my subject. And the honest answer to that is I want to be a better teacher than I am now in 5 years. I love what I do.
You've been watching Pensacola State Today. Special thanks to our guest, Dr. Brenda Kelly. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Sherri.
It's been great. And thanks to all of the wonderful new inductees into the PSC Academy of Teaching Excellence. Be sure to join us next time for more about the great things going on at Pensacola State College. We're on WSRE TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast. I'm Sherri Hemminghaus Weeks. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Take care.